years. The amazing achievement of landing on the moon in 1969 is now part of history.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Most scientists agree that the next giant leap will be when people land on our nearest planet, Mars. But getting there will need a giant leap in technology. The distance to the moon is about 240,000 miles. The longest mission there lasted 12 days. But the journey to Mars is around 110 million miles. An astronaut's round trip could take more than 2 years. Future explorers would need huge quantities of food, fuel and oxygen. But despite the technical hurdles, scientists say getting to Mars is now all the more urgent. It's all because of a piece of Mars rock which was blasted into space 16 million years ago. It eventually fell to Earth as a meteorite. Just 5 months ago came an amazing announcement from American Space Agency scientists at NASA, claiming it proved primitive life once existed on Mars. They based their evidence on a tiny fossil, which they claimed was once a living organism. Now they want to check if life still exists there. Scientists say a vital stage in exploring other worlds is building a space station. To find out more, I went to one of NASA's main research centers in the United States, at Houston, Texas. The Johnson Space Center is where astronauts and ground engineers are rehearsing and preparing for the construction of an international space station later this year. They're training in full-size model sections of the space station in a huge hangar, preparing for a weightless life in orbit. It's hoped the first section of the space station will be blasted into space in November. After 4 years of launches by American, Russian and European space agencies, it'll finally become home to 6 astronauts, an international community living high above the Earth. The main sections are being built by America and Russia. With its huge solar panels, it'll be the size of a football pitch. It'll be a science lab in orbit. This is where major scientific discoveries could be made in the future. Experiments will be carried out to help astronauts survive on a long journey to Mars and back. There'll be European and Japanese-built labs. Just like any good hotel, they'll have an ensuite bathroom and a comfortable bed. And there will be amazing views out of the windows.
I'm Bob Cabana. I'll be the mission commander of the first U.S. assembly flight of the International Space Station. We're investing in an International Space Station because the exploration of space is something that we as humans, it's our destiny to explore and to move beyond the confines of Earth's gravity. And this is the first step in actually getting away from Earth for any extended period of time. We're doing it as an international effort because I think that it is in fact a world goal, not any one nation's goal, and we need to learn how to work together, and working together in space is obviously the first step.
NASA has landed a probe on Mars before. More than 20 years ago, the Viking lander sent back the first incredible pictures from the surface. It found temperatures of -80 Celsius and light winds, but no signs of life. Now NASA is going back to Mars. A series of robot missions over the next 10 years will help pave the way for the first humans to go there. This is a model of the rover which is due to land in Mars in the summer. And this is Rocky 7, an updated version which could be landing on Mars in the next 10 years. Those robot rovers are being developed at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory, NASA's Center for Unmanned Space Exploration in Los Angeles. JPL's Mission Control is currently monitoring 2 craft which are due to reach the Red Planet this summer. The Global Surveyor won't land. It'll map the surface so future landing sites can be chosen. But Pathfinder will land, the first Mars landing since Viking. After travelling at thousands of miles an hour, Parachutes will help slow its path through the thin Martian atmosphere. Balloons will protect the rover as it hits the surface. Pathfinder will open out, and the solar-powered rover called Sojourner will be activated after the 7-month journey and carry out chemical tests on nearby rocks. But it won't travel far and will probably stop working after about a month. Before people ever go to Mars, NASA wants to get rock samples from the planet back to Earth. This is where Rocky 7 comes in. It's been tested at JPL's Mars Yard, which has a surface just like the planet. Rocky 7 is far more advanced than Sojourner and will be able to go where no robot has gone before. It'll travel about 40 miles across the surface, compared to Sojourner's range of a few meters. It also has a robotic arm, so it can dig to look for water and natural resources, which could be mined during eventual human expeditions. A later robot mission will collect the samples and bring them back to Earth.
I'm Dr. Richard Volpe. I'm the chief engineer for Rocky 7. Right now, the goal is to really find if there is life or was life on Mars. And part of that is looking for water. If, for instance, we land at an ancient lake bed on Mars, we would want to drive to what was the ancient shoreline of that lake bed and look for the kinds of deposits that you would find around that, calcium and other kinds of deposits. I've heard some of the planetary scientists liken this to the soap scum around your tub. And they would look for that and see if they could find that. And if those chemicals were present, then they would tell us something about what occurred in that ancient body of water when it was there on Mars.
We have a go for engine start. 6, 5.
But before people land on Mars, a new kind of spaceship will also be needed.
Booster ignition and liftoff. Liftoff of Columbia on a multi-nation research flight.
Roger, roll, Columbia.
The space shuttle's been flying since 1981. It now costs around £350 million per mission. It takes a lot of time and effort to maintain. So work is already underway on a replacement, which will be cheaper to run and much more up to date. There have been attempts to develop a vertical takeoff and landing craft. This one, the Clipper Graham, climbed to a height of more than half a mile. But millions of pounds in technology went up in smoke when it tried to land.
Engine out. She's coming over.
Fortunately, no one was on board, but important lessons were learned. In the Mojave Desert in California is a company which has developed some of the most advanced aircraft on Earth. Now they're turning their attention to space. The Lockheed Martin Skunk Works is developing a reusable space vehicle, which would make getting cargo into space cheaper than ever before.
I'm Jerry Rising. I'm the program manager for Lockheed Martin Skunk Works on the X-33 program. Low Earth orbit is really the base camp for deep space exploration. The whole initiative is to put payload into orbit at 1/10 the current cost, and if you can reduce cost at low and put payload into low Earth orbit, then it will open up space to exploration and other commercial opportunities.
This may look like the shuttle, but it won't have to jettison fuel tanks after takeoff. It'll be used to supply the space station and will be able to return on another mission within days of landing. But will these developments in space bring benefits to people on Earth?
I'm Kent Houston. I'm a mission analyst at NASA, and my job is to figure out how to get people to Mars. The future benefits of going into space are very hard to tell because just like the things that have happened in the past, we don't know what we're going to find. We don't know what kind of innovative ways we're going to have to figure out on how to get, for example, to the moon or Mars. But it's always been a good thing to do. It's always been a good thing to try things in new ways, to push ourselves beyond where we've been before, because you're always learning new things. And when you learn new things, you find benefits that you can derive from them. And that's one of the reasons space exploration is so valuable.
The space station, Mars rovers, and the replacement for the shuttle are all planned for the next few years. And according to many scientists, they'll pave the way for a revolution in space travel over the next century.
Eventually, I think space travel is going to be for everyone. The exploration of space is just beginning. We haven't even taken a baby step as far as where we're eventually going to go.
There are places in the solar system where people can't go. And so I think that most of the exploration that's going to be done will be by machine.
My hope is that people have a chance to go to space or go to other planets to see what they're like. I think we're meant to be wherever we can get to.
Yes, I would like to go to